done which last video I've done routing for router one to know this network and router one to know this. So you're gonna do now routing. So say we try to do a simulation first to see if router in laptop one can communicate to server one. We'll say the simulation. So router two doesn't know how to get to this destination network. So let's see how it works. So if you immediately drop the packets because it doesn't know how to get to the 3.0 network. So when we verify that, we're going to solve that now. So for the new simulation, get back to real time and get into router 2 now. We'll get into router 2 over here. Just, just put this over here. So see router 2. We're already seen the it just have the static address to 192.168.0.1.0. So we wanted to get to dot 192.168.3.0. So we go to the configure in the global configuration mode. We say IP routes. The network wants you to come to, which is 192.168.3.0. IP routes 192.168.3.0. 255.255.255.0, and then the next up address now. This knows this address. This you can get if you use this address can get you to this part. So use 23.0.0.2, 23.0.0.2. So all you know the route static route for that. So we check the routing table, show IP routes. Okay, we can already see now it has two static routes to 192.168.1.0 and static routes to 192.168.3.0. But again, as we discussed with the first one, the route in static routes is not enough because this device, so let's say we run a simulation again. So server one, also simulation, ping. This router 2 knows how to get to router in 192.168.3.0. But the problem here is now router 3 do not know how to get from these points to 192.168.2.0. It still hasn't learned it. The message will go completely okay, but when server wanting to reply again, it does not know where to reply, where to send the message to. See again, and you send to router 3 will immediately drop the message. So move back to real time. When to router 3, you say, while in global configuration, we say IP routes 192.168.2.0. This network over here. 255.255.255.0. And now the IP address to get to this point, this interface, this next up here, which is 23.0.0.1 over here. See now 23.0.0.1. The IP route has taken place, static route has. So we get back to the check the routing table, say show IP routes. We show now it has two subnet and static routing, so dot one into dot two. Dot one into dot two. So for those simulation now, it will immediately show over here successful to router one successful. So do the actual simulation, see how the message moves. It comes from PC one and laptop one, sorry, to switch two, to router two, From router 2, it moves to router 3 to switch 3, from switch 3 to server 1. So we just get to this, but now router 3 now knows this network and can get to this network due to this IP address over here. So to send it that way. So as you move to router 3 will now send uh, to router 2. Router 2 now send it to laptop 1. So the message has been received and it is okay. Transmission is okay. So that is basic routing, but now we're still not over yet because as of now, this router one knows of this network and this network, this and this and this. It means this 23.0.0, it doesn't know this network address, and so does this router 2 doesn't know this router 1, and does not also router 3 also doesn't know this 12.0 network. So if we do that, you have to configure again static route for all of them. And if we start configuring static route for all of them, it will take a long time to configure static route for this. So we configure static route for three different networks. So that's why they bring up dynamic routing. They brought up dynamic routing. So but before we move on to dynamic routing, start to talk about default route. Default route, this is the gateway of last resort. So it's usually set by the router going outside to the ISP, for example, which is this. This is the router going to the ISP. So we get to the router and this router 3. Let me bring this over here. So router 3 now, get back to config, configuration terminal. Router 3, it's just similar to just the normal routing static route. So say IP route. For instead of 100, again, we're just giving a network of 0.0.0.0. That means that any IP address, and same for again something like 0.0.0.0, any subnet max. And now because with ISP we don't control IP address for the ISP, we just put it at the interface over here, which is gigabit 0/0/1, say gig 0/0/1. And it shows that default routes without gateway, without point to point. So this information saying that the connection between the router and the ISP should be a point to point connection. There should be no other connection that can actually interfere with it. So we get that part now. So again, if we do then static routing, as you see, static routing take 2 videos to just explain though. It's very complicated. So that's why they bring up dynamic routing. And we'll talk about dynamic routing in the next video. But now just know the basic of static routing and how it works.